Ladies and gentlemen, good Thursday evening to you. How are you? I hope everyone is doing well. It is good to see you, and it is good to be seen by you. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, a.k.a. the Dungeon Delver, and welcome to the show. I expect everyone is probably very excited about tonight's guest. I know I am. This is a real treat to have this gentleman on the show because, of course, he is one of the foundational creators of art in the role-playing game space hobby, and I was honored and pleased when he was able to devote some of his time to coming on today and talking to us about the creation of his works, his history in the industry, and well, basically anything he wants. So without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome tonight's guest. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all say hello to the one, the only, as far as we're aware, EROL OTUS. EROL, how wonderful to see you. Thank you for coming on the show, sir.
Oh, you bet. Good to see you too, Bill.
Yeah, or I guess I should say good to see you again. The Delver, that's me, the Dungeon Delver. We crossed paths at GaryCon. We were just discussing there, and it was a lot of fun to see you up there. You had quite the line of folks for that classic EO call-a-thon, and I was lucky enough to get that on a couple of books. Thank you, by the way, very much.
Oh, you mean the signing table line?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That's great. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get into one of your games. I remember you sent me a little sheet of thumbnails over the internet of the characters you had for the game. That was a lot of fun. You had the Tarask princess and or was it a Grell princess or Tarask?
You're closing in. Yeah, there was a Grell. The princess was a Wyvern, and there was a troll with a magic beard, water elemental, ogre magi, and a giant slug who was wielding the Eye of Vecna.
Yeah. Just in case the giant slug wasn't enough of a problem, let's give him the Eye of Vecna to boot. That sounds like a blast. If I'm ever able to make it to GaryCon and you're there, I will camp out like concert tickets to get into an EROL OTUS game, where hopefully I will get to play a Tarask or a troll with a magic beard. Mm-hmm. So you were doing war games and tabletop games and so on prior to your to joining up at TSR, and I guess doing art even prior to that. What tell us about getting into art and then getting into the hobby?
Sure. Well, I always was drawing as a little kid, and of course, monsters and science fiction, fantasy was a big draw. And I don't remember exactly when we started playing. We started with like war games, kind of transitioning. There was we had a local game store, and they had the little Helm's Deep war game. It came in a little plastic bag on hexes, and
mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool because I really liked the Lord of the Rings, and so that was all a nice fit. And so we visit the hobby store, and we saw when Chainmail came out, we tried that. We didn't really get that, but shortly thereafter, the box set came out, and we started playing that, and we just, we weren't jumping for joy externally, but internally, there was like a complete transformation, a complete conversion of life and pursuits. Yeah, and so I would draw. I love playing, but also DMing and making maps, and we'd also we used to like making magic items on little 3x5 cards, making up our own, and I would draw those, and you put the powers in the back, and you'd give them out as treasure, actual physical, real world sort of representations of what you got in the game. And Oh yeah, and so and we were following along with the things coming out at the game store. The strategic review was there, and I saw an advertisement that they were going to be coming out with a color. The strategic review was monochromatic, uh,
Mhm.
although it could be in colors, purple, blue, or whatever. And they advertised they're going to be coming out with a magazine, the Dragon, that was going to have full color, at least part of it. So I started sending in things to them, just unsolicited, uh, and I didn't, back then, there was no email or or anything, so I didn't know if they were getting it or whatever. And I had subscribed to the Dragon, so I was receiving the first issues, and it was issue 2, and it just
Mhm.
showed, and that creature that became known as the Remoraz was in there. That was my first ever published thing, and I was just blown away.
Yeah, that full color plate. We do read throughs and deep dives on classic D&D products here on the show a lot, and that full color plate of the Remoraz is thrilling. I love that image, and I should point out I did off a couple of characters the other night, a couple of weeks ago with a Remoraz. So thank you very much. I melted some swords and disappointed some players, but we all had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a powerful monster.
It is. You can't attack it from the back. You'll burn alive. It could gobble you up with a single bite and roast you inside. What's not to love about the Remoraz? And your color plate is amazing. But you had done a book at the time also. I guess it would be today they'd call it a third-party product, Booty and the Beasts. And we actually had a super question from Doomsword. Thank you very much, Doomsword, for the super. He had to pass on a beat up copy. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Doomsword thought it was fantastic. So
yeah, well, that was the second one we made. We made a book of spells as well before that, and let's see, it came out in '79. And I think just before I started at TSR. But yeah, we love monsters and treasure and spells, and we made up a lot for our games, and we thought, hey, we can do this. Let's make a book. We used to go to some conventions back then, DundraCon, local to the Bay Area, and we sold the books there. We actually made some, I think, maybe some of the first geomorphs, where you make little squares of a dungeon, you can put them together. We had a little product like that, and we had some magic item cards. But yeah, the monsters, that Booty and the Beast was probably my favorite of all those things, with monsters and treasures combined. It's just fun, making those things up and then illustrating them. It was that one was, I thought, pretty successful.
Yeah, that I've actually I know a local store that has a copy, and it's kind of one of those cases of they know what they've got, so that's one I'll have to save up my pennies for. Kind of pull the sock full of change out from under the mattress to save up enough for that. But as I recall, you actually had a xenomorph in that issue, in that one, right? You had the Neela in the back.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I think we, Alien came out while we were making that, and it was funny. I had like a sketch pad or something in the theater, and I was drawing it because I wanted to put it in there. Yeah, we thought we were being very, very clever.
I think all of us at the time wanted to try and fit the terrible xenomorph in one way or the other. I put it in Star Frontiers when I was a kid. I had xenomorphs all over my Star Frontiers games. So you did your own kitchen sink press stuff, and it was clearly, at the very least, somewhat successful. how did it come to be that you got hired on at TSR? Obviously, they put the Remoras in the Dragon. Did they reach out to you directly, or how did this gel?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so that was all kind of happening all at once, and it was 79, and I just got a call from Dave Sutherland, because they were looking for a new staff artist. Trampier had just quit, and I guess I was like somebody they kind of knew about since they had published a couple things already in the Dragon, and maybe my stuff was kicking around. And yeah, Dave called me up and said, "Do you want to interview?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And so I went out there, flew out there and interviewed, and it was just really magical. I mean, that building that they were in at the time was so cool. They had the Dungeon Hobby Shop downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I remember walking through there and seeing Ernie, presiding over the Dungeon Hobby Shop, and just seeing, then the floor right above. Actually, at the time, I think I thought it was wonderful, and they hired me, and I moved out there straight away. It's just interesting the way those things happen so fast. I didn't think about it. There was no decision making. I didn't ask anybody, "Hey, do you think this is a good idea?" It's like I was like, I'm gone.
Lightning in a bottle moments like that are the best ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you mentioned something interesting there, and this literally like completely shakes the landscape of my timelines. So Dave Trampier had left by the time you came on at TSR, you say?
He was not there. That's why I think that is why they wanted to get another person on site there to be a staff artist, because he had just left. So it was really soon before I started. I can't remember between my interview and when I went out there how much time had passed, but maybe just a few weeks.
Wow, because there's a considerable number of books. There's oh gosh, I'm trying to think. Well, there's a few things that are contemporaneous with you being at TSR that also features his art. So I guess he must have sandbagged enough things that even after he left, they were able to edit it in. Or I don't know what their production process was like. So I guess I'll leave that up to better brains than mine to sort that out. So you interview with Dave Sutherland. You pack everything up, you move off to Wisconsin. What now is the first hardback that you had something in? Was it with a small illustration in the Dungeon Master's Guide, the wizard and the skeleton fighting each other?
I think, that the Dungeon Master's Guide had come out just before I showed up, like literally, as I remember, just like I showed up there and they were just bringing in the first edition. So the first ones, I didn't have anything in, but the very next reprint, Dave added one of my pieces to the next print. So I think there are some DM's guides. Some of the very, very, very first wouldn't have it in, but he added that in. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, there was a larger drawing on that page, but then that's like one of those, the first 2,500 or first 5,000 or whatever, and then your art is in there, of course. And I guess what was the next big showcase for you? I mean, we all think about Deities and Demigods. Of course, you did that magnificent Deities and Demigods cover that so many of us, everybody talks about Deities and Demigods because you did the magnificent Cthulhu section in there that we all love. And you were working on modules too at the time. What was kind of the production process? Did they give you a manuscript for the module and say, read this and give us some art? Did they say, we want exactly this piece? How did that go?
Yeah, so it was really just such fun. But I don't ever remember getting handed a whole manuscript. Usually, the writers and designers would give us some information. Talking to Harold Johnson or Jeff Leeson about Tomoe Chan, and then describing a gibbering mouther and other things. Often it would be, verbal. We would just talk about it.
Mhm.
And, if I had questions, I could just ask, like, it was, it would vary, so a lot of the times they would have very specific things they wanted illustrated. And sometimes it was, ideas that we could come up with and propose and go forward with.
So just kind of a brainstorming process as you talked about, hey, my module's going to have a this in it, or what have you.
Oh, sometimes well, a lot of times they would have a specific monster or location that would need to be illustrated, and they would describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And but within that there was a lot of flexibility.
Right on. I'm going to, some folks have been asking some questions. Do you mind if we blow through a few of these as we continue our conversation?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So, John Griffith, thank you for the super, John. We really appreciate that. That's very helpful. Do you take on commissions? And if so, how would someone contact you about it?
I do take on commissions, but, well, what's the right? I'm kind of full up for a while. It's not like I say this a lot. It's not a ton of work, but I'm slow. And I think the best way. Oh, and the other thing is, usually I try and do work for things that are going to see publication and wide distribution. Those are a priority far above like an individual original. As a fact, I hardly ever do that. So that's one thing. And I think what works out is, and if your project fits those criteria, initially sending me a message on Facebook, and then I would like review the initial information and get back to you. If I was interested, I would ask, then we would take it to email. But a lot of times, based on timing, I don't take them on, but I do sometimes.
Excellent.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there you go, John. And again, we thank you for the super. We really appreciate that. Alex Stabinski asks us, did your originals survive the great art purge at TSR when they cleaned out the offices?
No, hardly. I have hardly any. And the only color pieces I have really are the ones I did for the Dragon, that were freelance at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Those I was just like, TSR had a policy of keeping the originals when I was there, but the work I did for the Dragon was different. So anyway, all the stuff that I did for TSR was just kept there until I guess they threw a bunch away or sold them at auction. Excuse me. I guess some people who are still there, maybe, as I understand it, scooped them up from the dumpster and may have sold them. There were a few left that I think WotC tried to get back to people, but I got almost nothing. So yeah.
Well, I know this is quite a trek, but I do believe the Deities and Demigods painting is hanging on the wall at Noble Knight Games down in Illinois. So
I know that one, but I thank you for that. Yeah.
Cal Vanoni asks, are you going to KublaCon this weekend?
No, but I was there 2019 as a guest, and that was really fun. That was a great convention. I don't know if they still do it, but it was at a hotel at that time that had this huge, I don't know what to call it, like central atrium. More than that, really, where all the passages and stuff could look down into this huge central area, and people would chant out Kubla Khan at some point. It was taken up by hundreds, and pretty interesting.
That's great. Let's see. Oh, we have another super. Thank you very much. This is from Mike Wilson Art. We must have an EROL OTUS art book, preferably several. Anything on the horizon?
No, this is something I definitely want to do, but it's not currently in the works. But someday.
Someday. Well, there you go. Thank you.
And that might be the horizon. It might be just beyond the horizon. Maybe.
All right. And thank you again, Mike Wilson Art, for that. Appreciate it. Let's see. Connect wants to know, where do you draw your inspirations from?
Wow, it's a tough question. But, a lot of times, there will be some subject matter specific to, I like working on projects, games, and book covers, and there'll be some material there initially that relates to it, of course, that you want to include. But then, please forgive me. But then, like, what is it? I don't know. Sometimes it comes easily, right? You think of the subject matter, but then the composition and the colors, everything, is related to everything else, and it all has to kind of come together. And sometimes that is like a flash, maybe that you see in your mind, but sometimes you have to start working on it, and then it'll, come to you. And sometimes nothing comes at all, and then it's important. Just stop thinking about it if, like, you're struggling with it, and just forget about it, and then you might just be going for a walk. I find that sometimes, just going for a walk, you'll come up with an idea. And the other thing doesn't happen as much as it used to, but sometimes when just falling asleep, I would think of ideas. And I used to have a book. I should start doing that again. But I would need to write it down, because then I would inevitably forget it. And then sometimes you look back on it and it turned out to be a really good idea. Sometimes.
I come up with great campaign. I'm not a visual artist. My friends get on me and they're like, "You're an artist, Bill. You're a writer." I'm like, "That's not the same." But I'll come up with great inspiration in the shower, and that's a pain, because it's like, write it in the mist on the back.
Yeah, I saw. It was a while ago, but I saw like kind of weird waterproof notepad thing. You could put it in your shower.
I may have to do that. I may have to. I have had more great campaign ideas come into my head and then out, because I get out of the shower and promptly forget them. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Kevin, thank you for the super. Kevin says, I ordered the awesome Dragon 55 print from your store. And by the way, I want that link so we can share it with the audience. Any teases for other classic images that will be available in print form?
Oh, thank you for ordering that. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to do more. I know there's, like I said, this was a nice place to start, because I do have that painting. So, I took it and got a nice, beautiful new scan. A lot of those will have to be done from previously printed material. And but the good news is I saw some cool software Tony DiTerlizzi showed me that can kind of offset print it so it looks like a painting, even though you scanned it, for something that was previously printed. So that's real promising. So some things I would like to do would be, some of my favorite modules. And then the basic cover would be a really cool one to do. That one will require both that, de-offset print dot software as well as retouching. Mm-hmm. I think I'd like to offer it without the logo type. I think that would be the way to do it. So those are some things I'd like to do. The basic covers, favorite modules, the Fungus Man, and the frog one where they're blowing up, and the Behir Sajkanth.
That Behir cover is one. If I can't. S4 Sojkanth, yes, S4. We love it.
I always, I never remember the numbers. I'm so impressed people remember the numbers. I just remember kind of the subject matter.
So in your tenure at TSR, of course, I mean, landmark work for us gaming nerds out there. But you also did some work. You worked with was it Dave Hargrave on the Arduin books? Did you did the Arduin books? Yes.
Yeah, that was years before I went to TSR. Yeah, yeah, we had a lot of. That was like '76, I think, and yeah, we had pretty fertile, gaming groups around the Bay Area, around Berkeley, California. It was Hargrave, and there was Greg Stafford and Steve Perrin, the Chaosium, and of course there was our little group of junior high school kids, yeah, and there were other groups too. So we bounced around and played in Hargrave's game, and he was interested in making books, and I was always drawing stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you want to do some drawings?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Excellent. So, by the way, folks, just keep the questions and comments coming. I'm catching them as I can to put put off to the side so we don't miss any questions. Now, you actually you've had some work in some computer art as well, right? Star Control.
Oh yeah, that was great. Yeah, so my friend Paul Ritchie, who also worked at TSR for a while, as soon as he came back, he started making video games. Some of the early great ones with Electronic Arts, Archon, which is a fantastic game, and then later he was working on Star Control, and I did some freelance work for him, which included for Star Control 2 color paintings. That was still a viable way to make computer art because they'd scan them in and they'd animate them and things. And that worked out great. I love doing it. Some of my favorite artworks.
Yeah, StarCon was so much fun to play. Not just because it was a good game, but your art in it was excellent. And I would always smile. I was a little out of D&D, but still very heavily playing role playing games at the time. And when your name would pop up in the credits, that I was always like, I got his books.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, that's just a fun subject matter, aliens on V screens. I mean, that's got to be top 3.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you do anything other than the visual design for the artwork and the sprites and that sort of thing, or was that it for that project?
Oh, for Star Control, no, I did some other things. I did some music. I did the that being the Urquan theme song. But originally I was, and that's great. It worked perfectly that because it had like a heavy feel to it. And I did some writing for some of the dialogue. I guess partially it formed kind of an inspirational base for some of it. The oars, I think, yeah.
That's nice. I tell you what, when you're the good guys and you've been beaten back and you're on your heels, there's nothing quite so terrifying as seeing that big that big gray and silver ship looming close to you and you hear launch fighters and they come after you. That was good stuff. So we thank you, Mike Wilson Art, for the super. We appreciate that. Another question: the Mold Bay Basic set refers to a D&D companion set that wouldn't see print until the Mentor books. Did you have anything planned for that version?
Did I have no, I didn't. No, I did not. I mean, I've been in contact with some of the people who might be making a new one of these. I don't think that's a secret. They have a site and stuff. But at TSR, I had never heard of it. I mean, yeah.
Right on. Well, I hope that answers that for you there. Kabuki Kid here. Kabuki asks, do you do traditional old school art tools, or do you use a Wacom tablet or anything digitally yourself?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Because actually, some of the things I did right after TSR and coming back to the Bay Area as work for software companies who were making early paint systems. Like it started on the Amiga, and then we went to the PC, and we I guess they called it True Color back then. Some of the first paint systems that were, more than, pick your 16 colors. Yeah. So and yeah, we used back then we had these really big giant Wacom tablets, non-touch sensitive with a wire, and yeah, I did a lot of computer artwork. Now I still have I still do some things on the computer, and I have a tablet. I don't really do entire works of art on the computer anymore. A lot of times I use it kind of as sometimes I might do a pen and ink and scan at it and color it on the computer. But a lot of times with my paintings, I'll scan in the little rough thumbnail, because I usually like to make a tiny rough thumbnail. Seems really easy to get a great composition that way. But then if I try and blow it up just by eye, I lose something. So I'll usually scan in that tiny little sketch and then blow it up and print it out and use that as a guide to make the final drawing and painting from that.
Right on. Kind of the reverse of how some people would do it. You bring yours into the computer, but then you take it back out and work on it in the analog method. I like that. That's really.
That's accurate. Yeah, but then actually a lot of times while I'm working on the painting these days, sometimes I have a hard time deciding what I should do. Like there might be some aspect of the color or something, and I might even scan the painting in progress back in the computer and just rough in ideas on the computer just to try them out, and then go back and work on the painting with that idea in mind.
Well, we have a couple of inside baseball questions here, and I think this really gets to the crux of what some folks want to know. So I'm gonna pop these up real quick. Dave Mill says, "What was the fate of Valeris from the Rogues Gallery?"
What was his fate? I think it was just his fate was that he was a real character that that actually played, and created, but then. I stopped playing him, so he never died. I guess that's the way.
He's
the bright side.
Greyhawk, man. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, he lives on. Yeah.
Excellent. So that dovetails nicely into this question from Chris, who asks, how accurate was the info on your PC Valerius in the Rogues Gallery? Gary said that stuff for Mordenkainen and Bigby were not accurate, but something that Brian Bloom came up with.
Oh, you know what? I can't answer that off the top of my head. I have to go back and look at it. But yeah, the drawing, as I remember, was a pretty accurate depiction. I mean, obviously, because he was my character, but I can't remember if the stats were. I'd have to go back and look.
I remember that sort of skewering. You had that what is it, AP, the little foil you could poke through people's armor with. I remember that touch. That was nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure that he originally had that when I was playing him. He also had a. Do you remember? Did he? I know he had a Derringer. I don't know if that was in the. I don't know if that was part of his stats in there.
Yeah, that's not statted up. The Derringer wasn't, but there you go, guys. Grab your copy of Rogues Gallery and put a sticky note in there. Has a Derringer for Valeris. There you go. He's man's got a hog leg. John Walker asks, acrylics or oils, which medium do you prefer and why?
Yeah, most of my paintings, almost all of them are acrylics, although I do the occasional watercolor, and then also sometimes, like I said, coloring a black and white on the computer. I never got good at oils. I have to say I didn't really stick with them, but I tried them early on my own, just as a youngster, and I probably could have used some lessons. I just made a mess. So acrylics for me.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my parents were okay with anything that cleaned up with water.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's, yeah, I mean, that, I had some equipment, oil equipment. I just didn't do well with it. Like, I had one of these really cool, like, it was like this, I don't know if they still have them, like this coil in a jar of solvent, and you could wipe your brush on the coil, and all the stuff would fall at the bottom. So you could use your turpentine or whatever, and over and over and over and over and over again. But the paintings were, I didn't do well with it.
Right on. Vincent Notabartolo asks, do you currently play any D&D games as a leisure activity? If so, what's your favorite class to play?
Yeah, I do. We have we have a game that I'm running, and then we have a game that I'm playing in, and I usually, I mean, I have to say I like magic users the best, and then clerics, and then fighters as my third favorite, and I don't play the other one.
Oh, there you go, Vincent.
The thief, yeah. No.
All right. Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting question. Were you influenced by any TSR artists?
Yeah, Trampier, for sure. I mean, his black and whites in the Monster Manual, just astounding.
Yeah.
Just astounding. And, actually, going back, I don't know if influenced, but fascinated by, a lot of all the art, before that in the little pamphlets. I remember, especially, I mean, I just love it. That weird beholder. I just love that thing on Greyhawk. I didn't try and emulate it, but it was just so mysterious.
Yeah, that's I don't think there's anyone here on the show in the audience who's not a fan of the Beholder. I love it. What did you think of Trampier's treatment of the Remoras in the Monster Manual? Do you feel he did it? He did a good job on that?
Oh, absolutely! It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I like his Ankeg even more. Really fantastic.
Yeah. Well, a question for me. This is not from the audience. This is just Bill wants to know. When you have a chance to see modern D&D art, and there's so much stuff like the Ankeg, like the Remoras, things that you yourself created. What's your thought? What's your feeling on modern interpretations of it?
Oh, I don't know. A lot of the art is absolutely spectacular. And I like it. I just I'm not really sure. I have my preferences. I guess the truth is I haven't been paying that much attention, other than the big cover pieces that you see. I mean, we did buy some. I mean, the game that I'm playing in right now is 5th edition, so I do look at the artwork, and it's great. Yeah, I guess I don't really have anything too specific to say.
By preference, if someone asks you to run a D&D game, are you more likely to go for a classic D&D or just pick up a 5e game?
Well, I mean, I'm playing in the 5e game because that's what my friend is running, but I usually always run 1st edition. And although it's actually, I mean, I guess it's kind of a blend between original and AD&D, because I don't do spell components, and I don't do that. It's a little bit of a hybrid, but I just loved all the variety of spells and monsters AD&D brought. So yeah, I run that. Although I also did run Goodman Games' Dying Earth. That was a lot of fun too. I worked on that, so I ran that at GaryCon last year. I mean, not this latest one, but
right. 2022. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I got a few more. Let's see, queued up here. Are you a Frazetta fan?
Oh God, yeah.
Kabuki.
Yeah, I remember having, spending my hard-earned like quarters saved up to buy Frazetta posters. I had those. I don't remember what it's called. Frost giants or something. They don't look that giant, but it's beautiful painting. Those kind of Norse dudes battling in the snow. I had that pinned over my bed for years, and I really liked his creepy and eerie stuff. I started that, in the early '70s, but he had already kind of moved on. But I ordered their back issues that had Frazetta covers on it. Yeah, amazing.
Right on. Do you find that your art was influenced by the work of the late great Bernie Wrightson?
Oh yeah, I mean he's my favorite black and white artist. I wasn't into color comics, but I loved the horror comics, the Warren magazine comics, and he would do the occasional story for them. Some really great ones. There's one called Jennifer that's really creepy. The writer, I wish I could remember, was it Bruce Jones? I can't remember. But anyway, the writing is also great for that story. It's just, it's just a short little story, but it's quite good. So yeah, I loved his black and white work.
Yeah, there's a plate, and I'm sure you've probably seen it. It's Dr. Frankenstein in his lab.
Oh, Frankenstein, yeah.
It's like a 2-page gatefold that just the line detail in it. It's just achingly beautiful piece by Wrightson. And I had never gotten a chance to ask you the question, but I always thought, man, there's a synergy going on there. And I can see now that you've said that, I can kind of see the influence. So let me see here. We got one more sitting back in the queue. Are you a Wally Wood fan?
Yeah, I like Wally Wood. He's not. I mean, I wasn't really aware of him that much outside of. Again, he did some work for Warren magazine. I think maybe in older issues. But yeah, I really like his Spaceman.
Yeah, Wood was amazing stuff. So you mentioned you did the Dying Earth game with Goodman Games. That's some amazing stuff. Do you find that as a well, I think this anyway, and I think the audience probably would agree with me, a big name in role-playing game art, as you are, do you find yourself drawn to one genre of role-playing game more than the other? Is it a matter of what pays the best? Like if I just said, Errol, here's $1 million, pick a role-playing game to create art for, go. What would your what would your urge be?
The fantasy role-playing, yeah. As opposed to what, like science fiction? I like then science fiction would be next, and everything else after that would be lesser.
Right on
there. Yeah, Western. No.
Yeah, but you actually, I guess you did a lot of beautiful pieces for Gamma World, and I don't think there's anybody here who doesn't like that. How should we say, ample young woman with a Dead Kennedys t-shirt on the cover of one of the modules or posters.
That was the DM screen, I believe. I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I like that a lot. Actually, and I have that on my Facebook page, part of it, because I really, really like the weird guys walking down the highway, the ruined highway. So, and plus you have to have a kind of a horizontal format picture for your Facebook banner, which is fine. But so I sliced that out of there.
It works well. It works well. Mike Wilson, thank you again, Mike Wilson. Would love to see your art translated into 3D, maybe statues, busts, and minis. Now, it's funny you should bring that up because Mike, Errol's actually got a Myconid that I printed up for him. The little mushroom man
Yeah. Somebody has sculpted, and that's actually a pretty good version. Someone has sculpted up a few of my illustrations into 3D. That's not a discipline I know, though.
Yeah, it's my hat's off to whoever has got the dedication and time to do that. But it is a nice interpretation. Sammy says, "What is your favorite piece that you've done?" His is the Barrier Peaks cover, which right back there.
God, that's such a tough question. I mean, I'm black and white. I like Yogg-Sothoth. No. Shub-Niggurath. That's my favorite black and white from Deities and Demigods. With the color pieces, actually, some of those module covers are my favorite. Again, I don't know the numbers. I really like the fungus men battling, and then there's one where you're battling the frog creatures, and then I like Lost Caverns of Sajgan quite a bit with the Behir, and that my favorite part of that is the two warriors, their reactions. One guy's getting squeezed, and I really felt like I showed him getting squeezed, and then the other guy's getting his blasted through his shield. He's okay, but you can tell he's working on being okay. Some of those module covers maybe my favorite. I like the basic box cover quite a bit. I can't really pick one favorite.
Yeah. I mean, that's like who's your favorite kid, right? Which your kids do you love the most? And they're all
easier. Sorry, parents. Usually you don't have you're just talking to pick between a couple, right? I mean, not like you would want to, but I just can't think of them all right now.
Right. So let me see here. Vincent asked this, and this is a good question. Do you have any thoughts on the AD&D action figures that are being released? There's a toy company called Reflections. They've got your
I think I know what you're talking about. Somebody showed me that. It has the woman right from the basic cover. More. I thought it was cool that they had her wand in there. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice touch. Alan Canning asks, and this is a good one: any advice for aspiring fantasy illustrators?
Wow, that's a good question. See, I feel such respect. I don't want to give someone the wrong advice. If you love it, if you really love it, then just do it and try and find a project to work on initially that you love so much you don't mind working way too long on it. And that way, at least no matter what happens, at least you'll be working on something you love, even if nothing comes of it. Isn't that inspirational? I don't know. This, I don't know. It seems harder than ever to make a living as an artist. I mean, I haven't tried it in a long time. I worked as a game developer, and there were a lot of game developer artists. But as an illustrator, I don't make a living at it now. It's just it's really satisfying. It's nice to have a little extra money, but I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're doing it though. That's beautiful.
That's great. Hey, send us something to feature on the show one of these days, there, Mike, and we'll throw that up there. I'm sorry, Alan. Let's see. We got another one that's popped into the queue. Another couple that are up here. Kabuki, again with the questions, Kabuki. Have you ever used live models or photos to influence your art, or is it always from your imagination?
Usually it's just imagination, but I'll look at my hand a lot of times because hands are really tough. And then I did do some some computer illustrations, and I had friends pose, and I actually took photos. But that was very unusual for me. Yeah, nothing I did at TSR had any reference other than me maybe looking at my hand.
Right on. Speaking of hands, this brings up something interesting, and I hope this isn't a controversial topic with you, but I will. I'll risk it. What is, if it's something that you can express and it not take too much of your valuable time? What's your thought on the uptick in AI art? Some people are up in arms over it. Some people are indifferent to it. Some people are welcoming it.
Oh, I'm not welcoming it, but I feel like I guess there's several things about it. You know, people have been comparing it to, or the backlash against it. They've been comparing it to the introduction of photography, right? But I don't think it's quite the same thing. I think the way that it's like learned from the creations of other artists is different than just photography versus, you know, painting. It's something else. And I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I know that, yeah, as of now, right now, I mean, maybe this will change. Right now, I don't think it's really a positive. You know, I'm worried that it'll discourage people from wanting to, you know, try making a living at art, which is kind of hard already. I don't know. Maybe it'll spawn this weird, like, people who create AI art and use it as a starting point and I mean, I'm sure that's already happening, right? I don't know. I'm not like hugely hating it, but I don't really think it's a very positive thing.
All right, fair enough. I think now we've got a super chat here. This is from Jimmy Invictus. I kind of feel like you may have already answered this one, but I'll go ahead and throw it up because thank you for the super. And he says, "How did you get involved with StarCon? And then are there any current video game franchises you'd be interested in doing design for?"
Yeah, so getting involved with StarCon was because I knew Paul Ritchie, and we were all still kind of in the same area. I was in Berkeley, he was up in Novato, and I actually was helping him. Well, so there was Star Control 2 that I did a lot of work for, but Star Control itself, he was working on that, and we would actually go help him play test it because that was a lot. The first one was mostly about the you know, fighting. And that was a big part of the second one too, but that wasn't the big story thing. So people I knew and where I was is how I got involved with Star Control. And are there any current game? I don't know. I mean, I worked on video games full time for a long time. And I guess if I could pick something that I wanted to work on, it would probably be a fantasy or science fiction game, but I actually haven't been looking into that. So I couldn't come up with a specific title.
Right on. And Jay Smith says, "Are you planning to attend any other gaming cons this year?"
Not this year. Yeah, not this year. Next year, I'll probably certainly be back at GaryCon and maybe some others, seeing as how it is going to be the 50th anniversary. Maybe I'll get motivated to get on those hellish, go through those hellish things called airports and get on those hellish things called airplanes.
Right on.
Just not my favorite thing to do. I love being at the conventions. It's just that you know, the part between here and there. Right
on. Absolutely. So let's see. I'll go ahead and ask you this question because one of the, I guess, gosh, it was back early 2000s. I apologize if I'm getting my timeline wrong, but you did at least one cover for, and I know I'm going to mutilate this. I apologize. The Lord Weird Slow Fag. Did I get that right?
I think it's Slough, but I could be wrong too. Yeah. That was really fun because Mike Scalzi, the lead guy there, was a fan, and it was really fun to work with him because he was pretty flexible about the subject matter. I always like to come up with the subject matter if possible, or at least try, because I think conceptually, imagination is probably my strongest point. So yeah, that was great fun. I did the one where there's that weird Twilight of the Idols, and so I just took that, and there's idols sticking out, this barren landscape, but underground. There's a lot going on, and then Down Among the Dead Men, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this idea. I might have got it from somewhere, I don't remember, but just this idea of the being created entirely of severed limbs, and that was I really loved that painting. And I swear to God, a couple of years after that, I was playing a massively multiplayer game, and I swear somebody took that and made a creature out of it. It was years later. I think it was Dark Age of Camelot. One of the bosses there was a big old dungeon that was available if your side was doing well in realm versus realm. Anyway, I saw the thing down there.
So Kabuki is just lighting up the boards tonight. We'll get to your questions, Kabuki. John Stewart Keller, Star Trek or Star Wars? Which would you rather do art for?
Oh, Star Trek.
Yeah,
I'm talking original series.
Yeah. Everybody says original series. Is there another series than the original series?
Not really, but I mean, just reflect on all the writers were. I mean, of course, it was a perfect storm, but all those science fiction writers, glorious writers writing those shows, and it's just amazing. And the acting, of course, the special effects were, feeble, but sometimes they really nailed it, like the Planet Destroyer thing. Such a simple shape, and so it influences me to this day, And the music, they had I believe they had a live orchestra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scoring that thing, you could sense it. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm
we should have more questions because time is running short for me. So
yeah, we're running out of time here. I'm going to try and get the last couple of questions here. So let's see. Are you a board gamer? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, for a while I worked for games.com, which was a Hasbro company that were translating a lot of their games. Some of them were board games. I'm not. Whenever people say that, I think of this game that almost nobody remembers, Mind Maze. I actually have a copy of that. It's not a board game, though. But it's like this, it's a little bit like Battleship in that you put up there's this little thing you put between two people, and you specify a number of pegs you have, and you make a maze on your side that they can't see. They make a maze on their side that you can't see. And then you try and navigate it from your side with this little magnet, and you have a little ball on the other side, and you're doing this. I mean, it's genius. Game was genius.
I love it.
I like board games too, though, but I always think of that when I think of those, like an analog game right in front of you.
I love it. I absolutely
Mind Maze. Check it out, though.
Mind Maze. So let's see. I think that one more. We'll do one more. And this is Road March asks, how old were you when you did your first work for TSR?
I think some of the stuff I sent into the Dragon that they published, I might have done when I was 16, but I'm not sure. I'm checking something. just checking the signature on their Emeraz. I think that was 76. Might have been 77. I don't remember. But yeah, so I wanted to say 7. I started working there when I was 19, but if you count the Dragon stuff, then 16, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. 76, 16.
That is absolutely amazing. Trace, we asked. We did ask you if you scroll back in the video. I promise you'll find where we're talking about Errol's favorite artists. But I understand time is limited for you. Anything in closing? Any projects you wanna tease or anything like that before you have to be out of here?
Well, yeah, I do. I just did start selling stuff from a website store for the first time, so people should check that out. There's a print of Dragon 55 and some Cthulhu and Hastur T-shirts. So if you're interested in those, go have a visit, check them out. And then the other thing I'm working on right now is a painting for next year's GaryCon, which is the 50th anniversary. So, oh yeah, thanks. That's it. Yeah, and I'm almost finished. I should have it to Luke in 9 or 10 days, I think.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here, Errol. This was an absolute blast. I was so happy you were able to come on. I hope the tooth's all better.
Oh, my tooth. Yeah. I get a temp crown in there. But yeah, Bill, this was great. Thank you for asking me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate the kind words. Hopefully we can have you on again in the future.
Yeah, we'll let some time pass so I don't bore everyone with the same stuff over and over again.
No worries. I think there's still a lot of people that were like, wait. But save them up for next time. We'll catch you on the flip side, Errol. And again, I greatly appreciate this. And of course, thank you to everyone in the audience for your supers, for your great questions. And we'll see you next time. Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty. Thank you again, Errol. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. You too. Bye.
Well, folks, Errol Otis. And of course, just want to remind everybody that tonight's show was brought to you by our friends over at Hellebarde Games. Hellebarde makes the kind of adventures that they'd like to play, whether it's for 5th edition, for Castles and Crusades, or for the OSR. Hellebarde Games has got old school in play at the table, and you can check them out at Drive-Thru RPG or on their website, hellebardegames.com. We're back tomorrow with Gamma World. Let's play Gamma World tomorrow night, and we will do some of that. We'll have a little bit of preamble ramble, and until then, everyone, be good, and please be good to each other. I love you all, and I will see you tomorrow night. Take care.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle way off course? Make it as a toad all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.